You got the intro, babe. I'm ready when you are.
That's the intro. Welcome to Quarter Twins, everybody. Welcome to Quarter Twins, the only podcast where two quarters make $1. Happy New Year, everybody. It's a fresh year. A fresh year ripe for the taking. 2023. What's the phrase?
New year, new me.
New year, new me.
New
we're
year,
pretty
new
much the same
podcast.
over here, but
Oh.
I'm in a new space, I guess I should say.
Yeah, he's in a dungeon, guys.
I'm in a dungeon right now. This is our new house. We got a new house recently. That's exciting. Nothing's in here yet except for my podcast stuff and a couch.
The most important stuff.
Yep, we got Google Fiber set up here
Woo!
today. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it over here. And this room that I'm in, I will probably be in this spot from now until the end of time. This room is going to change a lot. We're going to paint the inside of the house. This is going to become a podcast studio office for both me and Sam to do stuff. The TV is going to be either on that wall or on that wall, the left or the right wall for those who can't see.
So exciting.
Anyway, I'm going to put some, I want to put some sound absorbing panels that look cool.
Could be good.
Somewhere. Because it's a little echoey. And there'll be couches and things in here that'll soak up some sound. But
just get like I'm
in a new space.
Just get like a big tapestry.
A huge tapestry.
Yeah, really, really, really big. Or like a big green screen. Then you can use it to put yourself in other places on Earth. Or otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could create a new civilization within my green screen.
That you could.
In that way. It'll also be a music studio, so I'll record some music. I'll become the next Bo Burnham. And
that's what I want.
That's what I want.
That's what I want for you.
Yeah, I'm just as funny as Bo Burnham. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Just kidding. He's really talented. That guy. Come on the podcast, Bo.
Let's hear it.
That would be incredible.
That would be.
Of anybody, we should get Bo Burnham, I feel like.
Let's just get him. Let's just do it.
We know we can get one person, so let's just get him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, this is a new year, and we're excited about it. Today, we're talking about one singular movie, but just at the top here, we want to remind you guys that next week, January 17th, is our first annual award ceremony titled The Quarters, and it's going to be a fancy occasion. Mm-hmm. As I've stated on our Instagram, I said this will be a fancy occasion.
Black tie.
We will be wearing nice clothes. And that's fun.
I gotta go through my closet and make sure everything still fits.
Still fits, yeah.
I don't think I have a coat, a blazer. But I can rock the white shirt. We'll be, it'll be asymmetrical. Yeah. We'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be good. So join us for that. We're going to do that our normal scheduled program time on Tuesday. We're going to be going through those of you who have voted for your favorite actors, actresses, directors, editors, etc. Thank you very much for voting. By the time this comes out, all the voting will be done.
Can you still vote on the old polls?
That's right. By the time you're listening to this, all of the polls are up on our Instagram page. They're in a highlight reel on our underneath our bio, and you can go in there if you haven't voted for anything or you want to catch up and do some you missed. Go in there, cast your votes. I'll post things on there to remind you as well, because we will take your votes into account. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be really fun. Join us next week for that.
Woo!
Before we
get
beginning
of season
into the nitty-gritty.
Question mark?
Beginning of season 2?
I was thinking maybe the quarters could be the first episode of the new season every year.
There you go.
And then we will record a new ad for Anchor.
Yes.
But not for this episode. Here comes the normal one.
Nice.
Bang!
Wow! Here it comes. Whoa! We're back, I guess.
Welcome back, guys.
What are we doing here today, Joshua?
Dude, today...
What the heck are we doing?
Dude, and that's the truth, really.
Yeah, that is the truth.
We are discussing a film that is, in some ways, a sequel, in some ways, not.
Yes.
This movie is Glass Onion. Which is a metaphor. The movie, it's a Knives Out mystery. If you haven't seen Knives Out, it's a Rian Johnson joint, written and directed.
The man himself.
It's a murder mystery featuring a main detective character that is in both movies, Benoit Blanc, played by Daniel Craig of James Bond fame. And Stormtrooper gets tricked by Ray fame.
That is him also.
So that's a fun... I mean, we're going to talk about the whole movie here today of The Glass Onion. I'm a little out of practice. We
haven't done this in a while. We took a break.
I'm a little terrible at this. We're going to talk spoiler-free plots. We're going to do our good, the bad, the funny. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty today with my film nerd stuff, okay?
Film nerd stuff.
But we're going to get there momentarily. Jordan, start talking before I ruin this.
As you said, Glass Onion is a sequel of sorts, a follow-up to Knives Out. By the way, everybody, Glass Onion is on Netflix. So if you would like to see Glass Onion, it's literally there for free if you indeed pay for Netflix. So you can stop listening, but come back after you've watched it.
Or spoil it for yourself and then watch it.
Yeah, spoiler for yourself. But right now we're going to be spoiler free. Glass Onion is really freaking good, I think.
Really good.
It's pretty great. Rian Johnson is a masterful director, as we've seen from movies as The Last Jedi.
And a very good writer.
Yes, and writer. The Last Jedi and Looper is one of my favorite movies, directed and written by Rian Johnson as well, which we should do a commentary on.
I haven't seen Looper.
Because that's a great film.
Yes.
Great film.
That's the one...
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it.
Yeah, okay. And he starts on a bike, right?
I don't know if he starts on a bike. He rides
There's a scene on a bike, right?
There's a scene on a bike, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're probably wondering
Emily
how I
Blunt.
got in this situation. Something like that, right? Am I thinking of something else?
I think you might be thinking of something else.
Yeah, okay.
Because that doesn't sound relevant to
Never
Looper.
mind.
I thought Glass Onion was really great. I had the privilege to see it in the theaters. It was in theaters for a limited theatrical run for 1 week over Thanksgiving because Netflix is dumb and they thought we might as well just not put this in theaters. Netflix financed this movie and any following sequels. If they would have put it in theaters, it probably would have made a lot more money and more people would have seen it. However, I do think they I think they were scared of Avatar, I think is what happened. Because Avatar was coming out and I think they thought we'll get more people to see this if we put it on Netflix so that people can watch Glass Onion when they get home from seeing Avatar, So, anyway, it's on Netflix now. I got to see it in theaters, which is a great experience because I love seeing movies in the theaters. It is comparing it to Knives Out, for example. Knives Out is very like the mood is fall and the mood is clue board kind of. And Daniel Craig's wearing like nice old English country blazers and fancy detective
like he's going
outfits.
hunting and with his giant dog.
Yes. And this movie is very summer vacation. Daniel Craig's wearing a beautiful little swimsuit that is just adorable with his little slide on wicker shoes. It's a great outfit.
You might change your words. Beautiful little swimsuit. It's like full shorts and a shirt.
Yeah,
he's fully
a button-up
clothed.
shirt.
Yes,
I want it. It's beautiful. But it's like you can wear it in the pool and then you can get out and it dries and you can wear it wherever. It's beautiful.
Yes, but not little. I would say, just as a bit
he's
of
a big man.
Yeah. A big strong man.
There are some small outfits.
Oh.
For sure. Yeah, this movie's very summer vacation, different vibe than the first one. It is obviously a murder mystery, so it has that aspect to it. I think if you're wondering, do you like it more than Knives Out? I don't know. I think they're so different that I don't need to say I like one better than the other, because the only thing that's the same is the fact that Daniel Craig is in it as Benoit Blanc. So much about it is different that they don't need to be compared by those standards. I do think that, as a spoiler-free thought, there's a mystery. I think the mystery is structured better in this one than it is in the first one. And we can break that down. I think that's the thought I have. Once I break it down, I might.
I think
decide
that's what
it.
I think.
But I think this one this surprised me more than the first one, I will say. What's your take? Do you like Knives Out?
I would say the opposite of what you've said so far.
That's fair.
I think that okay, here we go. Ryan Johnson. Yeah. Ryan Johnson, in every single interview talking about Glass Onion and Knives Out, he will bring up Agatha Christie and her works. Right? You go to any YouTube video on any channel, anytime he is talking about these movies, he's talking about Agatha Christie. Okay. So she is very famous for these whodunit murder mystery novels, right? And she subverted the expectations and the tropes and, created these narratives that poked fun at the genre while also being in the genre, very much like Knives Out and Glass Onion. So it's not like you watch a little bit of the movie, someone dies, the detective gets called in, the detective is the main character, they interview everyone, you piece it all together, at the end he solves it and explains everything and all the little details. In these movies, it is, like for Knives Out, it's like you watch, there's like a little bit of the beginning, someone dies, you get the interviews, but our detective isn't the main character, we're following someone else, and then we find out what we saw isn't what happened. And now it's like we're watching the character that did it, trying to hide the fact that they did it from the detective, right? Completely different kind of movie, really. Yeah. And then there's still like the mystery to be solved and the donut within the donut, right? It all goes down. In Glass Onion,
it's not a hole at all.
It's not a hole at all. It's another donut with its own hole. Yeah. So amazing. Good. I love Knives Out. So much fun.
Fantastic film.
With Glass Onion, we're looking at this story is happening while we're watching the movie. Like the most important things that happen in Knives Out already happened when the movie starts. But no one has died yet at the beginning of Glass Onion. And so it's more like the detective is part of the mystery in a way, right? And then halfway through the movie, we find out that's not the case. And
spoilers.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
It's getting a little spoilery.
Oh, jeez. Well, whatever. I personally, okay, I'll go back to your original point here then, and we'll just remove myself. I think that the first one is structured better to me. Yeah. In terms of just the way that it subverts the expectation, the trope of the simplistic plot of a murder mystery.
Sure.
So I really enjoy both of the movies. I think that the first one, I mean, there is also like, it's a new thing with new people and this great star-studded cast and blah, 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 right? And it's older, so I've seen it more times and I can pick apart the plot better. So maybe in like a year, I've watched Glass Onion a bunch of times. My opinion might change, but right now I think just the way that the first one subverts the expectation is better than the way that this movie does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it's, I think that just comes down to a difference of experience. Because my experience with the first Knives Out is like the brilliance of that movie is it shows you that for one, Harlan Thrombey kills himself. That's one aspect of it.
Mhm.
He slits his own throat. However, it shows you that Ana de Armas, what's her character's name? I forget.
Marta.
Marta has given him the wrong medication, has given him too much morphine, so he's going to die in a few minutes. And Harlan Thrombey makes this plan that to get her out of it. He slits his own throat. The plan is whatever, and it's happening. And you're learning about this, and so you literally you see the murder happen. You know who did it. You saw him. You see him slit his own throat, and then you're watching this movie. For me, I'm like, this movie isn't just going to end with that being the truth. Like
Right.
it wasn't. It was never. I was never like, this is the end of the story. You're interested in it because you want to see how it all pans out with Harlan giving writing his entire will in favor of Marta and giving her everything, and you're interested in all of those aspects, and the family members are great. But Chris Evans comes into the movie, and I was like, he did it. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So that never really surprised me. But that's just me. And for this movie, or Glass Onion, it was different, where I never knew for sure until the very end who did the thing, which we can get into.
I see.
So yeah, that's just we had different experiences, I suppose. But
it's interesting
overall,
actually, because I thought it was obvious who did it in Glass Onion, or
Sure.
not obvious, but like I figured it out a lot quicker than with Knives Out. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I love Chris Evans. He can do no wrong. I never even really considered him
Yeah.
a threat.
Yeah.
But
I just we gotta talk spoilers because I can't say anything else.
okay.
without
Well, I
being
already
spoilery.
spoiled it, so
No, you didn't spoil it totally, but it's like when you tell somebody go see a movie and you gotta look forward to the twist ending. Like
yeah.
now it's not a twist anymore because you told me there was a twist. But it's a mystery, so you know there's gonna be a twist. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
we both like this movie overall. It sounds like, is it art or fart? It's art for me.
It's
for sure.
art. What do you mean?
Of course,
on
it's
now.
art. That's just a given because we love Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
And we're biased. Spoilers for sure. Like you said, spoilers for the movie. Full spoilers ahead. Like you said, you thought it was obvious who the killer was. It is obvious, and that's kind of the point of the movie. Plot breakdown. Here we go. It's called Glass Onion. So it opens with. Okay, I'm going to run through the characters really quick. I wrote them all down.
Hit me.
For simplicity's sake. You got Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig, detective. You're introduced first to Catherine Hahn's character, Claire, who is a senator of some kind. Then you're introduced to Leslie Odom Jr., who's like a scientist type guy, which is what you know about him up front, is that he's a smart scientist dude.
Smart guy.
Then we're introduced to Kate Hudson's character, Birdie J., who's like a fashionista. Entrepreneur. Wow. We both pulled that word out of nowhere. Jeez.
That's exactly what she is, though. There's no other.
Fashionista. Who has been tweeting racial slurs on the internet.
Whoops.
And then we get Dave Bautista as a streamer. And I just love his character so much. And his girlfriend, Whiskey. Dave Bautista is like a...
it's part of the manosphere. That's what I would say.
Yeah. hyper masculine energy. He carries a gun around, hanging over his crotch at all times. It's very funny. Then we're introduced to Andy Brand, kind of. She's there. We don't know much about her yet. And then we get Edward Norton. Well, Jessica Henwick plays Peg, who is Birdie J's assistant. And she's around
in the background the whole movie.
In the background all of the time. And then we get Miles Braun, played by Edward Norton, who invites all of these people to his private island. So they get to this island after a really cool introduction scene. And Miles Braun is like, I've invited you all here to solve my murder. And he's playing this murder mystery party where he's going to get murdered and they're just going to have a fun time solving it together. He is like, Benoit Blanc, why are you here, man? I didn't invite you to my house. And Benoit Blanc is like, what the heck, man? I got an invitation. He's like, no, you didn't. And the invitations were these big puzzle boxes or whatever. And so Daniel Craig's like, I got a box. What do you think about that?
Boom,
and he's like, oh, Edward Norton is like, Miles Braun is like, somebody must have reset the box and given it to you to play a prank on me because I'm having a murder mystery party and you're a detective, so you're here. So that's hilarious.
So fun.
Have fun. Yeah, go swim in the pool. Put your little outfit on. And this whole time, Miles is talking. He's saying a lot of big words, and he's set up as this like super genius billionaire person. And let's see what happens. They all kind of sit down to begin the murder mystery party, and Benoit Blanc is like, "Hey, is this starting yet?" And Miles Braun is like, "Sure, man, go ahead." And and Benoit solves it instantly. He's like,
so funny.
Birdie did it, murdered you with this, and that's the motive, and that's what happened. And Miles is like, great. There goes my entire party.
Weekend ruined.
Weekend ruined. And you find out that Miles had hired like a famous mystery author to write his murder mystery party, and he had hired somebody to make these puzzle boxes, and he spent so much money on this, and he's like, oh, you just ruined this. What the heck?
What the heck?
And Benoit Blanc's like, I ruined it on purpose because you're a jerk and you invited all of these people here and they all have motives to kill you. And I think it's really dumb that you planned a murder and mystery party with these people. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're probably right. Never mind. I'm not going to think about that anymore. And then they go downstairs and everybody's drinking and stuff. And Dave Bautista dies. He goes, ugh! He's choking and then he dies.
Just like that. Wonderful performance.
Yes. This whole time, Janelle Monáe's character Andy has been around, and they set up this kind of intrigue around her. She's very quiet. You can tell that she hates these people for reasons that we find out later, and so they think that Andy killed Dave Bautista. Duke is his name. That she killed Duke or whatever, and then the lights turn out. And somebody shoots Andy in the chest. Oh no! And then this is the midpoint of the movie where we get the little twist, the twist, little stinger. You're good. Daniel Craig brings everybody inside and he's like, I'm gonna solve the mystery. And then you get a flashback to a girl named Helen who looks exactly like Andy, who turns out to be Andy's twin sister. She brought a box to Daniel Craig because Andy has died, and they think that she killed herself in her garage with her car. She left her car running, and they think she killed herself. But Helen is like, nah, man, somebody killed her because there was this. She was super smart, and her and her friends hung out at this bar called the Glass Onion, and they all met Miles, and he was this kind of entrepreneur energy, and it brought them all together, and Andy started this tech company, and Miles kind of took credit for all of it and pushed her out of the company entirely and took all of the money. They took them to court and basically ruined Andy's life over the intellectual property of the company, which was written on a napkin.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles was like, look, I have that napkin. And so they were like, yeah, we believe you. Andy, you're out of here. But then Andy finds the real napkin where she had the original idea for the company. And she sends an email to all of her friends with the picture of the napkin. And is like, I got the real thing. I'm about to destroy Miles with this thing. And then she turns up dead the next day. And so Helen, her twin sister, goes to Benoit Blanc and is like, I need you to help me figure this out. He's inviting all these people to his private island. I got an invitation. I need you to come with me. And he's like, the game is afoot. And all of that. So he is with Helen. Helen disguises herself as Andy. And so they're out there on the island together. You find out. You think that they're strangers at the beginning of the movie, but you find out they've known each other this whole time and have been working together to try to figure out who killed Andy. And
because none of them know that she's dead yet, by the way.
Yes,
that's all a crucial fact.
Yes, that she didn't release a statement to the press about her sister dying, so nobody knows she's dead except for the killer. And so, yeah, we get back to everybody else, and Andy is presumed dead, but she had a notebook or something in her pocket that stopped the bullet. That's convenient. But I'll let it slide, Ryan Johnson.
Her sister's diary, I think.
Her sister's diary, yeah. And so she doesn't actually die. And then Daniel Craig brings everybody back into the room and is like, one of you killed her. But you didn't kill her. You killed Andy. She's alive, and her name is actually Helen. And they're like, what? And what he how does he do it? He's like, he talks about how he's expecting this thing to be super complicated and complex. And actually, when Helen comes to Benoit Blanc, he's like, he tells her, like, I don't think Miles Braun would have killed Andy because it's too obvious. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, it was sitting there right in front of me the entire time, right Beautiful. On the tip of my nose. Take the glass onion, for example. Something so complex on the outside, but it's since it's glass, you can see through it to the center. All these layers to the center in plain sight is Miles Braun. Because
Miles Braun's an idiot.
Is an idiot. Miles Braun is essentially Elon Musk. Is kind of the political relevant subtext. Is an Elon Musk type guy for many reasons.
Ryan Johnson has denied this allegation publicly. Publicly,
fair enough.
But probably
for example, somebody who is a billionaire who probably stole his ideas from other people. And is just really good at faking it till he makes it.
It's probably Elon, but
it's
just
Elon
for
Musk.
Yeah.
Somebody who would do something so obviously stupid as to buy Twitter for $40 billion.
$44 billion.
$44 billion. This is the kind of guy we're talking about. The kind of guy who has the literal Mona Lisa in his living room because he can. And so he has this alternative fuel that he believes is going to be the next big thing. Lionel is over here being like, you can't use that because it's hydrogen or whatever, and it's going to blow the world up. And he's like, nah, man, it'll make me rich.
Nah, man.
And Andy was going to ruin all of that, so he murdered her, and it's super obvious. And that's kind of the point, is that this guy is just really obviously dumb. And he takes his ideas from other people, and not everything has to be super complex, and not everybody is a genius because they have billions of dollars. So there's a lot of social commentary. There's a big sweeping portrait of Kanye West on one of the walls with like a halo, and he's holding a scepter and like a shrine to Kanye West, and other little things that are just really funny. So yeah, like I was talking about, this movie surprised me more than the first one. or I think it's structured. For me, I like the way it's structured more than the first one, because you don't really know. You think that there hasn't been a murder until Dave Bautista dies, but then you find out that they're not even here to solve that murder. Benoit Blanc isn't even here to solve that murder. He's here to solve a completely different murder. And I just thought that really hit me in a cool way, because you're like, when's somebody gonna die? Because there kind of goes a long time before somebody dies, and yeah, I don't know. I just really like the way it was paced. Well, actually, one of my bad things is I don't think the pacing is very good. I like the way the mystery was structured, I suppose. I do think that the pacing is off a bit, because when you get the revelation, that whole sequence takes a really long time, I feel like. It kind of takes you out of the momentum. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the overall thing now that we can talk spoilers?
Yeah, well, I already...
You thought it was pretty obvious, right?
I already kind of said it, but... Yeah, like, the whole idea of the glass onion, with it being super complex structure, but then it's see-through, you could look right in the middle. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend that I knew. Oh, sure. Yes, the glass onion, of course. Yeah. But it is like I felt the notion of, like, this is a complex movie, but it feels very simple in its solution. And there you have it. Cuz, like, it's a murder mystery, right? I'm going into it knowing I'm looking for someone to be a murderer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I think that might be why it was more obvious to me, because for whatever reason, I watched Knives Out, and I didn't really think about it beforehand. Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of trailers and teasers or whatever for Glass Onion, because I was so excited. I couldn't contain myself. So I was like, I think it's Edward Norton.
Yeah.
And then it was, and I was like, maybe a bit of a bummer that it was so obvious. But, that's mainly my gripe with it, is that I solved it. It's sort of a Prisoners situation, if you will. I recently saw Prisoners, and I maybe like a third of the movie, maybe close to halfway through the movie, I paused and talked to Jordan for a bit. We were going to record the Christmas episode, and I was like, this is my guess as to what's going to go down in the rest of this movie. Don't answer me and tell me if it's true or not. And then I laid out the rest of the plot, like, point for point.
With 100% accuracy.
And then it happened, and I was like, oh, darn.
That was so sad.
That was too... I don't know. That doesn't normally happen, where I can literally just like, bang, bang, bang.
He started giving me your best guess as to what was happening, and I was just like, oh no. Just literally telling me what's going to happen in the movie.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a proud moment, but also disappointing because it lessened my enjoyment of the film. So I think I'm like, you just tell me when the next Knives Out movie is coming out. I don't even want to know the name. Okay? Yeah. That's going to be impossible. But, you know, figure out a way to prevent me from spoiling it before I go into the movie. Or, like, try to have my own preconceived notions. Because I think I spent too much time getting hype. I think if I would have seen it in the theaters, I definitely would have liked it more.
Yeah. I think that's probably true. And yeah, if I would guess the ending of a movie, I would be like, oh, that's a bummer. But I think for this movie, since I was like, oh yeah, it's probably Edward Norton, but that's really obvious, so I don't think they're gonna do that. Mm-hmm. But that's thematically, that's like the movie's trying to convey a message, and that's the message it's trying to convey, and it's the point of the film. Mm-hmm. Everything is kind of structured around how obvious this is, which like is kind of a bummer, because you want to be surprised, but it's like it's the type of thing where it's like it's so obvious that he killed her, so I'm not surprised that he killed her, but I'm also surprised that he killed her,
right?
Because it's so obvious,
right? Because you
like,
go into a murder mystery, and it's like, oh, he is he's the red herring, right? It's not
yes.
him, of course not. But then this movie, it is him.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like, we don't get political here very often, but it's like you take a Donald Trump, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and you think, I can't believe that guy was president. I'm surprised by that. And then you're just like, I'm actually not surprised by that very much.
There it is, the reality.
And if he is again, I'm gonna be like, I'm surprised by that, but I'm also not surprised by that. So that's a whole thing you do,
Yeah, so sad, but so true.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. My other note was, on the negative side. I thought that the cast of characters wasn't quite as interesting as the Knives Out cast. For some reason, I think like Duke and Whiskey are really they're really fun, I guess. They're kind of the funny characters. And then you have Catherine Hahn and Leslie Odom Jr., who are just kind of boring. And Catherine Hahn is hilarious, but I don't think
funny.
they didn't give her much to do or say that was fun. So I was kind of bummed by that. I liked Kate Hudson's character. Birdie J is really funny.
She was great.
Just the obliviousness of, a fashionista, as we said.
Fashionista.
Daniel Craig has this great line that's everywhere. Then you probably heard it, but the Birdie J is like, yeah, I call it like I see it, and I say whatever I want because that's the truth. And Daniel Craig is like, Benoit's like, it's not always good to assume that speaking. What does he say? What's the line?
This famous line everybody knows.
This famous line everybody knows. He says, mistake talking without thought as speaking the truth, or something like that. It's much more eloquent than that. Don't mistake speaking without thought as speaking the truth, or something like that.
Something like that. That sounds
something
good.
like that. It's a great line. Yeah. Yeah, I really liked the score. The score's really good. The music, same composer as the last one.
It felt more Bond-like.
The score.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of sweeping, establishing shots for them to like, when is red wing.
There's a really great video, the notes on a scene videos that one of the YouTube channels does for Ryan Johnson is breaking down the scene where they all meet at the dock. And the beginning of that scene, it's a beautiful shot of like backlit actors standing on the dock, and they're all silhouettes. And Ryan Johnson is like, yeah, we started with this shot. This was the first shot we did. The lighting is beautiful. It matches literally nothing else in the entire movie, but it looks good, so who cares?
Yeah.
He's like, it's fine. I don't care. Like, yeah, what a guy. That's a great
Speaking
video.
of that video, that is what I have brought to the table today. Okay. I just wanted to hit you with it, as you say.
Literally hit me with it.
So,
Kick me.
This is my Ryan Johnson is a great director bid for
Here we go.
the Oscars. If you guys want to hear this, I don't know if the nominations are in already, but here it is, guys. Okay. So they're on this dock, a big long dock in Greece, right? And so if you're looking using your eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
And you're standing at the end of the dock and you look back, you can kind of see the lines of the dock move like this, forced perspective, right? It's a whole thing. It's an art style, blah blah blah, right? So Ryan, he's directing the movie, and they have this big boat behind them that holds all their camera equipment. It's like a break room for the actors, blah blah blah. So they're forced into shooting the scene from two angles. And so you have the angle of Benoit Blanc, the detective, our insert character, more or less, and the opposite shot with all the new characters. And so Ryan Johnson says, okay, we're going to look at Benoit Blanc, and then we're going to look from the perspective of Benoit Blanc. He is us. We're seeing the scene through his eyes. We are observing the new characters as he is assessing the situation. He knows more than we do. He's done his research. He's making assumptions. He's making suggestions. He's kind of seeing the characters, the people, right? And so the whole scene is shot. We're looking at Blanc assessing us, and we are Blanc assessing them, right? And so and it's so cool because the pier itself is like this arrow, right? It's this big blunt object. He's on the back of it at the end, nothing behind him. And then when we go to his perspective, the literal pier is like shaped pointing at the characters standing on it. And there's like a buggy that comes in, and it's pointing in a certain direction towards Kate Hudson as she comes on, and the characters, like, we'll have Catherine Hahn on one side, Leslie Odom Jr. on one side, and Catherine Hahn walks in between them, and she's standing just enough to the left where you can see Jessica Peg's character, or Jessica's character Peg, standing behind her, like under her arm. So she's like standing like this, and she's like, "Hey, you guys," and they're standing. This one person standing here, and one person standing here. She's standing in the midground. In the background, you see her under her arm, and it's all shaped perfectly. And then she walks towards the characters to give them a hug. Benoit Blanc, they switch to him. He walks towards them, and he walks towards him, and then the camera reverse shots back to his perspective, and you see the camera pulls in towards the actors, and she's walking towards them, and she notices Benoit in the background, and she walks past them, and you get this nice shot of her big hat, and it's big, and it shapes the frame, and the shadow, and her mask is not really a mask, and
it's just fishnet.
Right, yeah.
Fishnet mask.
Very nice personality touch the wardrobe touch that they did. And her big hat shapes the frame, right? And under her frame, on either side of her shoulder, is one of the characters, and you can see a character in the background. It's all very intentional, and he's like, here's all the points, all the lines are pointing at the character that's talking right now. Your eyes are literally being forced to look at this person. This is like photography 101. All these lines and shapes and arrows are pointing at the focus of the frame. And then the reverse shot is Benoit Blanc, and he is placed in the spot of the frame where you were already looking at Birdie J. You're looking at her talking, and then it switches to him, and your eyes are already there. And you can see him, and it's like, oh, so much clarity. It's so well done that you don't have to think. You're just part of the world. Right. You are the perspective of the detective as he comes in, and he's greeting all these new characters, and it's like a beautiful way to set up the movie and meet all these new people that we haven't seen yet. And it's art. And
it is art.
I mean, of course, directors, this is like their literal job, is like building all of this stuff. But you watch this YouTube video and you see him, I think it's Vanity Fair. Yeah. That's a magazine,
I think
right?
So. Variety or Vanity Fair?
I think it's Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. He can literally like line it out. This is what I did. This is what the costumes mean. This shot is like, here's the foreground and the background and the midground, and the characters are paired together with who they're paired with in the movie, and they're kind of, they shape the whole scene, and everybody's standing exactly where they need to be standing so that the shot looks the way it does. And I planned it out word for word. This is screenplay. And you know what I mean?
Because you don't realize like how hard it is to be a director until you hear them talk about it, and especially in these videos where they're showing you the clip and mapping it out for you. It's like, this must be exhausting. Like, do you do this for every scene in the movie? Like, of course you do. You're the director of the movie. This is what directors do. And I watched that scene again today with watching that video in the back of my head, and like the sequence takes place like really fast.
Right.
When he's describing it and walking you through it, he's pausing the movie and talking about it, so it feels drawn out. But it happens really quickly, and you don't even really have time to like put all those things together in your mind. But the brilliance of the directing and the photography is just like, it does exactly what he's telling you it does. And it's happening so fast you don't even know that it's happening. And it's just brilliant. It's great.
Yeah. So I just personally think that his ability to not only do all of those things, but explain it in detail and be like, look, see, this is what I did.
Yeah.
This is intentional. It worked. And you are a fool. I mind controlled you.
I've never watched like a movie, like director commentary over a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I should, but if I could watch the entirety of Glass Onion like this, with him just pausing every second and breaking down the shot, I would love that.
Because he's entertaining when he does it too, because he's like making jokes and talking about all this stuff and gassing up every actor, and he's awesome. He's amazing.
I'm excited for the next one he makes. Did you see that? Or I sent it to you. There was a tweet going around. They were asking for who are you going to cast for Knives Out 3?
You have a good
dream cast. I think it's a pretty great cast, honestly. I'll need to pull up the picture. I hope the third one comes out soon, because I want more of it.
It'll probably be sooner. Although I follow him on Twitter.
You do.
He asked. He was like, anybody have any ideas for the third Knives Out?
Yeah. For some reason, everybody's loving the Muppets.
Yeah.
They're like, do it with the Muppets. Where did we get this idea in the consciousness of the internet?
Are the Muppets still real?
Here's my cast for Knives Out 3, okay? You got Simu Liu from Shang-Chi, Emilia Clarke from Solo,
Plenty of
Game
things.
Thrones. Ray Fiennes. This is my favorite. This is my favorite pick. Is Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes. I gotta watch The Menu. It's
incredible.
on HBO.
Voldemort. It's on HBO now?
Yeah, it just showed up on HBO.
Oh, dude, no way. I'm gonna watch that literally right after this. Ryan Gosling. I'm a huge Ryan Gosling
Classic.
fan. Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe. Everybody. Harry Potter. Get him in there.
Get Harry Potter and Voldemort in there.
Right. It's so good.
That'd be fun.
Brian Tyree Henry. Bullet Train. Eternals.
Yes, great.
Zoe Saldana, obviously, is great. And J.K. Simmons.
Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
Where's Samuel L. Jackson?
No, thank you.
Excuse me?
Hot take, overrated actor. Oof, moving on.
Brutal.
Okay. J.K. Simmons and Ray Fiennes are my favorite picks. I want them both in the next one.
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. Yeah, he's great.
Have you seen him as the Scrooge on all the Verizon commercials? Amazing.
Yeah. Funny things. I love that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the hourly dong. That's hilarious.
Is it him?
On the island, every hour, there's a loud dong, and that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think that's hilarious. They mention when they're at the pool, he's like, try this hard kombucha, Jared Leto's secret formula or something. And I thought, I don't know why that is so funny to me that Jared Leto would make hard kombucha. Of course
Jared Leto makes hard kombucha.
He would. And then they have Jeremy Renner's small batch hot sauce, which just, those two things kill me, man. Mm-hmm. I just think it's so funny.
Shout out to Jeremy Renner recovering in the ICU from running himself over with a snowplow.
I hope you're doing well, Jeremy. That was
scary.
Sad to hear. Scary. Hope you're doing all right. Hawkeye. Dave Bautista is so funny to me in this movie.
He's pretty great. I was disappointed. When he like chokes on nothing and falls over and dies, I was very disappointed because I thought it was like a fake out at first, and I was like, "There's no way they kill the fun guy at the beginning of the movie." Yeah. But he's dead, and that's it for him.
Yeah,
and I was a bit bummed.
They killed the most fun character, which is a major bummer. They should have killed somebody else, but it's fine. There was a reason for it. He's like, Duke, don't dance with pineapple. and then because he's allergic to pineapple,
Right.
and Miles just puts some in his drink, and it kills him instantly. Is
Yes,
that how allergies
instantaneous
work?
death.
I don't know, but anything else we want to say about this movie? It's really good.
I mean, I don't know. I really liked it.
That's good.
I think in the future I'm gonna try to watch more director's commentary on.
Yeah.
Although, where do you find that?
Usually
You have to
just
buy
on the
the
DVD
movie?
extras.
Yeah. See, that's antithetical to my pocketbook.
Yeah. It might be like on, I think HBO Max puts them on their movies, some of them. Maybe on Apple. Maybe they put them in there.
Oh, you don't have Apple anymore. You let your
but if
free
you
trial
buy,
expire.
I know. If you buy a movie, I mean, on iTunes, it probably has director commentary. Anyway, Willow update, Joshua? Any updates on the show Willow? It's been a few weeks.
So, okay, yeah.
From my perspective, here's what's happened, guys.
Okay,
all I know is maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, he was like, Willow is the worst show I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. And then the next week he texts me and he says, this is the best episode of Willow so far. This show is amazing.
Dude. So
tell me what's happening.
Since we left off, I think the last episode that we talked about, there was a revelation about one of the characters that went missing, right? Mm-hmm. And they were gone for a couple episodes. We see them for the first time in this great new setting. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so cool, amazing. And he didn't show up again for 2 episodes. Finally, last week, we get some new stuff with this character again. World building occurs, if you will. And you know me, okay? So, and not to mention, all of our main characters have been on this quest. And, some sort of, not a true climax, but sort of a subclimactic event occurs. And it's good. And and as always, the jokes are super funny. The actors are trying their best. And what can I say, guys? I enjoyed it. And I
love that for you.
It really annoys me because the first episode and several of the subsequent episodes are just awful. And the editing has gotten better, but it started off, I don't know if you caught it in the first episode. There's a moment where there's like just a normal cut in the same, like, shot to shot. It's not like a new scene or anything drastic, but the audio just goes like 5 decibels quieter.
Oh yeah.
It's like
you
the
told me
same.
about that.
It's like the same audio. Jeez.
Whoa.
It's like the same audio
mic
track.
over.
Yeah, golly.
Unlike your microphone.
We fixed it. It's fine.
It's all right.
It's just, there was just like, I mean, that's something I would do, making a YouTube video. Like, that's not professional Lucasfilm level. Like, who did that?
Editing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so funny.
But then, that sort of stuff hasn't really happened since then. The main thing is that the tone, incomprehensible. Sometimes there's a joke about, like, I don't know, he's standing right behind me, isn't he? And then the next scene, one of the characters will be like, we have a difference of opinion. I see you're all tied up. And he said, I thought we were starting to get along, And you're like, what is happening here? And it's just so funny because there's no coherence at all. Great movie.
Really good.
And so it's just funny because it doesn't make any sense. And it feels like there's a lot of chaotic energy occurring.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it, as they say. So I'm not going to stop watching this show.
I love it.
It's great. I hate it.
I need to catch up. I don't know. It's really hard for me to watch TV shows for some reason that don't grip me on the first episode, which Willow did not.
Well, it was bad.
We went to Nashville for New Year's, and on the drive there and back, On the drive there, I watched a movie called Sunshine, and on the way home, I watched a movie called Moonfall. That was not at all on purpose.
I was
The
like,
sun and the
wow,
moon.
some sort of celestial occurrence on the new year.
A spiritual reality of the sun rising at the beginning of our trip and the moon setting at the end of our trip.
Beautiful.
One of these movies is really good. The other one is really bad. Sunshine is great. Go watch Sunshine. I talked about it before. It's very 2007 in some moments. Like a music, a song will kick on and you'll be like, wow, this is 2007 right now. But it's phenomenal. It's a great movie. I'm not going to talk anymore about that. I would love to talk about Moonfall. Moonfall is a 2022 movie, believe it or not, starring Patrick Wilson, I think. Patrick Wilson, the guy who plays the villain in Aquaman, and Raoul in Phantom of the Opera, or something like that. Anyway.
I have no idea.
Halle Berry and a guy who they so obviously wanted Josh Gad, but they got this other guy to play this character. It's so funny that it's so obvious that they really wanted Josh Gad for this role.
That's fun. Josh Gad's
it is
funny
about Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry are astronauts, and the opening scene is they're up in space. And they're up in space with a third crew member, and they're like working on a space station or something. And all of a sudden, this like nanobot cloud-looking thing comes around and like goes past them, and the third crew member gets sucked into space, and they lose him, and he dies.
Oh no!
And they get back to Earth after that happens, and they crash land on Earth, and nobody believes what Patrick Wilson saw. Halle Berry was like knocked unconscious or something, so she didn't see anything. And so the government is like, Patrick Wilson, you are making the story up because of your negligence. You let this third crew member die, and you're just making up this crazy story or whatever. So you're fired, and you're no longer an astronaut. Now you're a bum, and you're a bad dad. And so he's living on his own in a little apartment, and he's not paying rent. But all of a sudden, the moon has changed orbit, believe it or not. It has literally changed its orbit all of a sudden. And they're like, Halle Berry, what the heck is going on? And they're like, the moon is getting closer to Earth, and that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Sure.
But we're not going to tell anybody. We're just going to tell people that it's going to be fine and that they shouldn't worry about it. And Halle Berry is like, I think you should tell people that the world is going to end in about 12 hours.
12 hours?
And they're like, no, man. It's changing very drastically, the moon.
Jeez.
There's this guy, Josh Gad. It's not Josh Gad, but I'm going to call him Josh Gad. He is like an internet boy, like a conspiracy theorist. And his theory is he's a mega structurist. And what a mega structurist is they believe that celestial bodies like the moon are mega structures. So the crust around the moon is just a facade, and on the inside it's a big structure, spaceship powered by a star, a dying star, or something like that.
Wow, Nidavellir.
And this guy, he creates a computer graphic that with 100% clarity, like ILM. Beautiful CGI of what these things probably look like a gyroscopic, like buildings flying around and like a gyrosphere type thing.
Dope.
And you're like, dude, that's crazy, right? And he's like, yeah, the moon's going to change orbit. He's actually the one that breaks the news to the world that the moon has changed orbit and is going to collide with Earth. And so the government is like, we're just going to nuke it. We're going to nuke the moon.
Let's nuke it.
And Halle Berry is like, if you nuke the moon, because what they have to do is they have to wait until the moon gets into the Earth's atmosphere before they can nuke the moon.
Perfect.
And they're like, and Halle Berry's like, you realize if you nuke the moon, one, we won't have a moon anymore, and two, those are nuclear bombs, and people will die.
No.
And they're like, we don't care. We got to nuke the moon.
Yeah,
and so
that's
Halle
some army
Berry,
general. That's some crotch
yeah,
business.
General Crotch. So Halle Berry and Patrick Wilson and Josh Gad go rogue, and they take an old spaceship into space to
As
try
you
to
do.
figure out, without a plan. They're like, we're just gonna go up there and see if we can feel it out, see if we can figure out what's going on with the moon. They bring Josh Gad because they're like, Patrick Wilson believes him that the moon is a megastructure. Halle Berry's not too sure. And somehow they figured out that the nanobot cloud attacks any technological craft or something that has technology in it. So if a spaceship goes up and it has modern technology, it gets destroyed by this nanobot swarm. And so they take an old spaceship, like from the Apollo days, that doesn't have modern technology in it. And they can't have any modern technology because if they do, they'll get killed. And Josh Gad brings his phone. And so they go into space. And Josh Gad has his little iPhone out and he's taking pictures of the moon and stuff. And lo and behold, they get attacked by this thing. What they want to do is they take an EMP up there. And they're going to be like, we're going to use this EMP to kill this nano swarm.
Okay.
We think that'll work. And they see that the moon, there's a massive hole going into the moon, not a crater, just a big like tunnel that this nano swarm has drilled into the moon. This is really interesting, I promise. We gotta go in there and see what we see. So they take a little rover, a little spaceship that looks very modern, in fact, futuristic, and they go in there. And lo and behold, it's a mega structure powered by a dying star, and it's gyroscopic in this thing. So Josh Gad has created a computer graphic with 100% accuracy of what this actual mega structure inside of the moon looks like.
Wow.
It's literally the same like computer model. Just put it. It's so funny. What? And so they go into the moon and they get attacked by this swarm, and then all of a sudden a big door opens and they get pulled into a big door, and they get saved from the swarm. And Patrick Wilson has a vision, and it's one of those things where it's like, we're aliens, but we're you from the future. But actually they're humans from the past. So here's the deal, guys. What? In the distant billions of years ago, humans exist, and they have transcended conflict and war, and they have built the society around a artificial intelligence that keeps everyone safe and comfortable, and there is no conflict, and there's no wars and peace. And then the AI turns evil and decides, I'm gonna kill all of the humans. No. And so these futuristic humans that live in the past, they decide, we're going to build big megastructures to hide from this AI we created that's going to kill us. And only one survives, and that's the moon. And that megastructure creates Earth itself, and humanity is reborn as the humanity that we know now. And they're like, you got to kill this swarm or it's going to kill you, man. So they kill the swarm, and the moon just is like, okay, cool, goes back into orbit, and then the Earth is basically destroyed by this point. And then they're like, this whole time, Patrick, Halle, and Josh Gad, they fly into this megastructure, and they're just like, wow, cool. And they see things. People see the moon like the size of Jupiter coming at them, and they're just like, oh no, oh that looks bad. Nobody reacts to anything in a realistic way. Halle Berry's like, oh yeah, look at that, the moon's a megastructure. Wow, okay, cool. And then it's just they move on.
You were right, Josh Gad.
Cool stuff, man. And then the Earth has like been destroyed and billions of people have died, and then it's just the sweeping, like once they've killed the nanobots or whatever, it's just sweeping, just heroic theme as they come back to Earth. It's like, just destruction and death and horror, and this music is like, yeah. And Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry are like, heck yeah, man, we saved the Earth. Just surrounded by desolation. Like, yes, we did it. And then it ends, and I was like, wow. That
sounds like the best film of the year to me.
I just love it so much. It's really bad, but you should definitely watch it if you like. This is from the guy who makes like Twister and 2012 and Geostorm and all those.
Dude,
movies.
2012 freaked me out.
Yeah, I thought the world was gonna end for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go watch Moonfall, man. That's a great. It's on HBO Max as well.
Dude, I remember December 31st, 2011, I was under this bed, I think.
Yeah.
And, because it has, it's like cabinets or whatever, right? And you can get under there. And
I remember that.
I went under there, and it's the new year, and I'm like, here we go, guys. This is it.
This is it, guys.
And nothing happened. And I was bummed.
Oh, man.
It was a little weird because I was like, oh, I'm supposed to go to bed now? Like, what?
I guess I'm supposed to go to bed.
Yeah, so that was a weird day for me mentally.
I feel I had a similar experience May 21st, 2012, a few days after the first Avengers was released. We were at Silver Dollar City, and there was one of the guys who was like, the world's going to end on May 21st, 2012. And I was like, oh no.
Here we go.
This is it. I'm at Silver Dollar City, and I'm going to freaking die right now.
That's terrible,
I have
man.
I have anxiety around the end of the world for sure. Trauma from 2012.
Doomsday.
All right, take us out.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
the end of the world.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for watching episode 35. We didn't number this one earlier.
The quarters is 35. So
Episode
this is
34. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, we will be doing The Quarters 2022, movies we saw in 2022. Movies that came out in 2022.
Yes.
We want to specify there will be exceptions on my special categories because there weren't a lot of great animes this year. I'm just
This is your
there.
This is your podcast, man. You can do whatever you want.
So also this might maybe the last episode that it's just called Quarter Twins. We might
add a little something.
We're looking into potentially adding something.
I think we've definitely decided that we're keeping Quarter Twins front and center.
Yes.
Because that name is too good.
I think it genuinely, it feels like it's us. It's marketable. The logo is dope. We got it all. It's just, it doesn't say anything about what we do.
Yeah.
Right?
It holds us back. It's a ceiling that we need to break through.
Wow. Yeah.
Business talk.
So we're looking into breaking that ceiling and coming at you with season 2 of The Quarter Twins. And we will see you next week.
We will.
Whether or not we have a new name.
Yeah. It'll at least be Quarter Twins, and it'll be The Quarters, and we will see you there.
So
it's
true.
a fancy occasion.
Dress nice.
So, yep.
All right, guys. With that said, thank you guys so much for listening and watching
Yes.
And we'll see you next week. Whoa. Did I do that on purpose?
Watch freaking Andor, guys.
Watch freaking Andor. Watch freaking Willow, you guys. What a show.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week, guys, all right? I'm
see you
done.
next week, guys.
Okay? Bye.
Dang, dude. Jeez. Get out.
Freaking go away. I'm done.
Leave me alone.
Jeez.